if you're paying attention to the machinations of the Orange Messiah, the Antichrist, you are aware that he's using the tried and true method that he has used all of his life to avoid responsibility for anything, and that is delay. His staff of vampire-like attorneys, or zombie-like attorneys, I should say, the Walking Dead, continue to file their motions in this court or that court or the other court. Just run the clock out, right, you orange bastard? The thing about what the Messiah is doing, what the Antichrist is doing, he is working on destroying democracy now. That's the third thing that he is trying to destroy. He's destroyed utterly, beyond repair, the Republican Party. It'll never be the same again. He has also utterly and absolutely crashed the Christian religion into a flaming brick wall. So he's destroyed that. He's destroyed the Republican Party. Now he's going after democracy. I hope that we prevent that from happening. So much to talk about. I don't know where to start. I'll start. Well, always start at the beginning, Mike. Bomb threats. The Christian fascist psychotic army of Donald Trump was hard at work over the last 24 hours. Bomb threats were reported in at least half a dozen state capitals this morning, which forced evacuations from state house buildings, interrupted court proceedings, and according to the reports that have come in from various news sources, these bomb threats have been reported in Connecticut, Kentucky, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, and here in Georgia. This is how Trump and Hitler operated and operate now. I hope you agree with your humble and obedient servant here that the Orange Antichrist is operating strictly out of the Hitler playbook now. I mean, there shouldn't be any doubt left as to what he's doing. This is not Germany in the 1930s or the 1920s. It doesn't have to be. This is the United States in the 2020s. And the machinations and the craziness that applied 100 years ago is working again. Only this time, the Hitler persona is being played by the Orange Antichrist, Donald Trump, who has the full vocal support, raucous support, committed support by his cult members, which are the Christian fascists in this country. I guess I constantly repeat that, don't I? Yeah, I guess so. Several people at the Connecticut Capitol got emails this morning about a threat that they then reported to law enforcement. But some of the threats said, you better evacuate the building now because the fucking thing's going to blow up momentarily. The spokesperson for the Connecticut State Police, Capitol Police, said, quote, it was an email that somebody had claimed to have placed multiple explosives within our Capitol building, end quote. Now that threat brought about the immediate closure of the Capitol and the adjoining property, according to the State Capitol Police in Connecticut. Explosive detection teams swept the premises. This is like the swatting thing that these Christian bastards are doing now. Well, they'll call the police and say that somebody's being held hostage with a gun to their head in, the target's home. And it's always a target that they're going after, somebody who is rational, somebody who believes in democracy, somebody who is trying to stem the tide or the flow of this putrid backwash of Trump annihilism, however you want to phrase it. And when the call goes in that there is this kind of a situation, a SWAT team goes out, I mentioned this the other day, I think, and totally disrupts the person's life who is the target of this swatting, and in some instances can result in death or injury, because when the police get there, they don't know what the hell is going on. And if somebody makes a wrong move inside the house, they're probably going to get shot. So what they're trying to do, what the Christian maggots are trying to do now, under the direct guidance and support from the Antichrist, is to do this to state capitals. Disruption. This is what Hitler did. Disruption, chaos, confusion, little acts of terror, disrupting official activities. This is what Trump tried to do on January the 6th. Only now it's become nationwide. And Trump and the Nazis who are working with him, his high command, they know exactly what they're doing. And they're going to continue to do it. In fact, now that we're in 2024, take it from your humble and obedient servant here, it's going to get worse. Let me see what else. Oh, after the building in Connecticut, the Capitol building was considered to be safe, the lockdown that went into effect was lifted at about 10 o'clock this morning. And then here in Georgia, if you remember Gabriel Sterling, he was the guy who got very pissed off when it became public of what Trump tried to do to Raffensperger, our Republican conservative Secretary of State. Gabriel Sterling is a senior elections official in the Georgia Secretary of State's office. And he was the one who came out first before Raffensperger did. He was so pissed off. But he posted on social media just a little after 8:30 this morning that a bomb threat had been reported at the Georgia Capitol. And that building was closed after an email was sent to an employee about a bomb threat. That's according to Georgia State Patrol spokeswoman. She said in an email, quote, "A search was conducted and an all clear was given. The Capitol has been reopened. These are the only details available for release at this time," end quote. Kentucky, the Democratic governor there, Andy Beshear, said in a social media post this morning that a threat received by his office, the Secretary of State's office, had prompted the Kentucky State Police to evacuate the Capitol building there, in Frankfort, Kentucky. Beshear, in an email, no, it's a post on social media, Beshear said, quote, "We are aware of similar threats made to other offices across the country," end quote. In Michigan, threat was emailed to a general email account for the State Capitol Commission about 8 o'clock this morning. See, all these came at roughly the same time. So, some little cell of these Christian Nazis were very, very busy this morning putting this shit together. And Michigan State Police spokeswoman said it happened about 8 o'clock this morning there. She said, quote, "The Capitol here in Michigan was evacuated. The building searched, and the Michigan State Police currently has Michigan State Police canine teams sweeping the building." Then she added, "Out of an abundance of caution, the Capitol will remain closed for the rest of the day." The day, of course, being today. What else? In Minnesota, in what was called an unspecified threat, interrupted oral arguments at the Minnesota Supreme Court. That's according to a local television station in Minneapolis. So the Capitol was locked down in Minnesota after security officials were made aware of bomb threats, and they received emails in Minnesota and, at various capitals around the country. We don't know how many are not reporting this for fear of just inspiring these Christian Nazis to keep doing it. What else? A spokeswoman for the Minnesota State Police said, quote, "No suspicious or threatening items were found. After the searches and sweeps were complete, the building was reopened. Normal activities have resumed. As a precaution, Capitol security will have an increased presence in the building for the remainder of the day," end quote. Now, the threats are coming, of course, amid an increase in attacks, threatened, bullshit, cowardly, and some real, on public officials, including what I mentioned, a whole bunch of these swatting incidents recently that targeted politicians who are standing in the way of the Nazis to gain power in this country. And according to, I don't know who conducted the poll, but a majority of Americans said they're worried about an increased danger of politically motivated violence. Oh, that was according to the Washington Post ABC News poll conducted around the midterm elections. Well, it's come to pass. Midterm 2022, dear heart, almost 2 years ago. And wasn't it, what's his name, Christopher whatever, the head of the FBI, who has warned over and over and over again that the biggest threat to security and domestic tranquility are the internal terrorists who exist side by side with normal people in this country. Now, the threats also come as officials prepare to mark the third anniversary, which comes up on Saturday, of the attempt to overthrow the government led by the Antichrist. That's when the pro-Antichrist mob overran the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to stop the certification of Biden's victory. And that attack, you'll remember, I mention it because we Americans forget shit so quickly. 5 people died. 5 people died, including a cop and a woman shot by police. 2 other officers who were on duty that day died by suicide, and more than 100 officers were injured. And this filthy pig bastard Antichrist Donald Trump, the hero of the Christians in this country, says he's going to pardon all of the people so far convicted in fair, open trials by either a judge or a jury of their peers, or by their own admission that they involved themselves in terrorist acts. And this filthy Antichrist is going to pardon them when he is elected. Oh, man. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West, on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.